On the 15th of October 2022, at the O2 Arena, Claressa Shields fought Savannah Marshall for the undisputed middleweight championship of the world. After an intense 10 rounds of boxing, Shields was declared the winner by unanimous decision. Congratulations to Claressa for winning a hard-fought match. This was not the outcome predicted in the previous video. In this video, we're going to briefly examine the evidence, determine why the prediction failed, and discover what Shields did right and what Marshall did wrong. The full prediction video is worth watching as it provides all the evidence, plus explanation of coin placement strategies and hedging. The link is in the description. Let's pull up some of the evidence relating to Shields.
You can just see the gulf in class between the two, the Olympic pedigree, the years and years of boxing. You know, whether Claressa one's going to front foot, whether she goes on the back foot, she's just a little bit too much. I say a little bit too much. She's a very much higher level than Kozin.
Having seen all her fights, I would say that the clip gave us a good overview of how Shields boxes at range. Fast hands, flicking jabs, straight rights, over-the-top shots and punches to the body. This was classic Shields. We could also see that she doesn't dance around the ring. Shields goes forward or backward. Not being mobile is one of her limitations, particularly against Marshall. Clearly she is having scoring success with Kozin, but Kozin is 23 years old and is not in the same league. We're all looking forward to seeing how Shields copes with Marshall when boxing on the outside, but the mission critical phase will be close range boxing and infighting. Okay, let's look at round 5. This was planned to be the round to stop Kozin. Again, Shields is simply throwing punches, often repeatedly punching Kozin's gloves. During 6 seconds, she threw 16 punches, with none landing cleanly. A few seconds later, she goes again. She has some success, but her punches have no power. Kozin was still returning punches. These 2 rounds emptied her energy tank, and for the remaining rounds, she would never launch another sustained attack. The reason for this failure is threefold. 1. She doesn't have an uppercut. It's the single most effective punch for opening up the guard and stunning the opponent. But in her entire professional career, she has only thrown 2 uppercuts. 2018 against Tori Nelson and 2020 against Ivana Habazin. 2. She doesn't select her punches when targeting the head. Instead, she throws a whirlwind of blows regardless of whether they hit the target. 3. She cannot throw an effective hook. Her punch geometry is wrong, so she ends up slapping her opponents. In this freeze frame, we can see Shields in the process of delivering Kozin a huge slap with the inside of her glove. Here again in her fight against Habazin. In her fight against Femke Hermans, we see the enormous wrist deflection as the slap impacts the head. The wrist acts as a shock absorber, allowing Hermans to remain standing. A hook shot requires the fist to be in line with the lower arm, and the blow must land with the fist, not the inside of the glove or wrist. Well, we can now understand why Shields cannot knock her opponents out. Is it possible that she's changed since her last fight? In her interview with the boxing writer in July 22, she said that she is learning how to select punches and sit on them.
We're just trying to get me to settle down, sit on the punches when I got them hurt, recognizing when they're hurt, and just keeping the power over the rounds. You know what I'm saying? So girls will say that I got power throughout the whole fight, but it's like we've been working on getting stronger and getting faster and just being more smart and picking our shots. And I believe that out of my 12 fights, I got 2 knockouts, 2 undisputed championships or whatever. But this will be the fight where people will see that I am going to knock out Savannah Marshall.
Okay, evidently her trainer is making an attempt to introduce change. But in truth, to achieve punching power requires a completely different style of boxing. It's not going to happen. And neither her fantasy knockout of Marshall. You can make your own mind up. For myself, I believe that in the O2, she will box as she has always done, but probably with a bit more caution. This was my prediction concerning Shields. It was based upon 6 months of research, and it was the only realistic prediction that could be reached. It failed because somehow she did make the transition to a more developed style of boxing. After an entire career boxing without these key attributes, the transformation of her style is nothing short of a miracle. We see uppercuts being thrown, punch selection, and good punch geometry. Clearly respect must go to her team and John David Jackson, but it was Shields who was able to perform like this, as if it was her natural style of boxing. She does openly thank God, and while many people will not understand this, I do not doubt the possibility that there was an intervention to ease this transition. For those of you who do not understand this, in the mid-20th century, the true nature of reality was discovered and described by the top physicists of the time. They were the first humans to examine the building blocks of life. I'm producing a series of videos on this subject to be released later this year. If you wish to have your current understanding of existence ripped apart, subscribe with notifications. However, that's for the future. In the present, we witness Claressa boxing with tactical awareness, throwing a variety of punches to her selected targets, with her fists aligned with her forearms. This is a word-for-word description of how Savannah Marshall has always fought in her pro boxing career. But more than that, over the 5 to 6 years spent with Peter Fury, Marshall has gained a vast array of boxing skills. Watch the full prediction video for a more detailed view. Here we will view some excerpts to gain an understanding of why the final prediction was the only prediction open to me. Her stance is very narrow, allowing her head to be partially protected by her left shoulder while her left arm guards her body. Rankin can't see a good shot. This technique also maximises her reach advantage. By leading with her shoulder, she gains the distance of half her width plus the long arm. See the substantial range advantage against Rankin. This distance draws the opponent within Marshall's striking range. She has great tactical awareness for a punching opportunity, and we will see this in the last half of round 7 as Marshall ramps up the dismantling of Rankin. Be aware, it gets very violent. Rankin ends up with a perforated eardrum and a broken jaw, while Marshall remains fresh and still dancing around. Watch Marshall's eyes.
Not expecting. Wonderful body shot to end that combination. Just stepped away, out of range. Marshall was gone, and then another one of those hooks to the body. My goodness me, she is in some condition here, Hannah Rankin. She's soaked up a lot of body shots.
And this is mentally draining because Marshall's not letting up. Marshall's not letting up. As soon as Rankin tanks, she drifts out of distance, but then it comes right back onto her. Look at this.
Oh, my goodness me, that uppercut hurt. She's on the point of going here. There might be a decision for Phil Edwards to make here because Rankin is brave and tough and will not quit, but she is just getting broken up.
I wonder what the referee's waiting for. He should be stepping in here.
Oh, she's got nothing left here. Late in round 7, Savannah Marshall has been systematic and brutal. Rankin's heart is keeping her up, but that's all that's keeping her up. It is a battering. It is so one-sided, and even if the referee doesn't step in, Noel Callan in the Rankin corner surely has got a decision to make here. She takes a knee in the last few seconds. She's got absolutely nothing left.
She shouldn't have to do that. The referee should be stepping in there to save her from this punishment.
And if he doesn't, the referee, there he has. Good.
She should never have had to take a knee.
Meet Lolita Mazea from Zambia. 30 years old, 16 wins, 5 by knockout, 3 by stoppage, and no defeats. As you can see, she's in prime physical condition. Her strategy is to take out Marshall very quickly by going straight to close range and the inside. This is the perfect opportunity to see how Marshall might cope if Claressa makes her move. Out of respect, because there's only 2 rounds in this fight, out of respect for Sky's copyright, I'll show the first half of round 1, because we'll see Marshall has to take some good punches and gradually find a way into moving into punch selection mode.
Her treasured world title against fellow undefeated Lolita Mozea, rather an unknown quantity, Matt.
Yeah, but straight away Mozea is looking to take that centre of the ring. She's looking to back Marshall up behind that double jab. A very aggressive, fast start from Mozea.
Yep, she can punch. And a good right hand. And Marshall just caught in a bit of a storm and has to fight her way out. Big pressure from the challenger from Zambia. Switching it out. And out very fast from the traps.
Yeah, I mean, she's literally jumped straight on it here. Let both hands go. Good uppercut there from Savannah Marshall.
Beautiful punch from Savannah Marshall, timed as Mozea came in. What a rip-roaring first minute we've had here, as Mozea literally going for it.
Good left hook as well from Marshall.
Yep.
And again, a lovely uppercut. And again, 2 really good uppercuts there from Marshall. I think she's going to have to knock the fight out of Mozea.
Rolled down, a couple of years younger. Hartlepool's Savannah Marshall.
She's just comfortable in wherever she throws, whether that's southpaw or orthodox. She never had an amateur used to switch at all, but now you can just see whichever foot she lands on, whichever way she's standing. Great shot over the top.
Lost her balance a bit. Femke Hermans. Big six. Femke Hermans. And it is over. A stunning statement from Savannah Marshall. There's the power. It's another KO. It's a dramatic defense.
Here's the punch. You can see Marshall is coiled like a spring. Her left arm is already hooked, and when the punch hits, the force is going to be directed down her forearm, in opposition to the force that's being directed into Femke Hermans' cheek. From the video evidence, it's undeniable that Savannah Marshall possesses a range of skills and punches way beyond that of Claressa Shields. However, Shields is an extremely experienced boxer with fast punches, so she may do well in the opening phases of the fight when boxing at range. But in fact, it doesn't matter who wins this phase. Even if Shields is successful, Marshall will cut the ring and close her down, forcing her into a fight on the ropes. This is unavoidable, because Shields is not quick on her feet, whereas Marshall can dance around the ring to cut her off. If Shields doesn't retreat to the ropes, it's the same outcome. Marshall will fight her in the middle. Therefore, at some point, and on numerous occasions, we're going to see them going toe-to-toe. And in that situation, Marshall will win each engagement. What makes it worse for Shields is that Marshall has shown that she can take heavy punches and simply ignore them. The only logical conclusion to this study is that Marshall wins by knockout or by stoppage. With Shields, throughout her career, wildly slapping with no-hook geometry, and Marshall being the exact opposite with the additional advantage of height and reach, there was only one prediction that could be made. More than that, I had often considered, what if Shields could select her punches and punch correctly? What a fighter she would be. But would she beat Savannah Marshall? My view was no. Marshall would simply sit behind her power jab, punching Shields in the face. In fact, we could see flashes of this during their bout. Only that she failed to maintain her discipline and didn't act upon the sensible advice provided by Peter Fury at the end of round 1.
Right, she can't keep that going. How do you feel? Yeah, that's it. Keep the front foot that way. Yeah, don't go on the inside.
Claressa would have scored hits, but Savannah punches harder. And over 5 rounds, she would have broken down, allowing Marshall to gradually move into her punch selection mode. But it never happened. Instead of using her fast feet to dance away from an engagement, She would follow up her jab by moving to the inside, where the new and improved Claressa took maximum advantage. And what is bizarre is that Marshall kept repeating this tactic, even to the extent of wildly throwing punches. In all of her fights, I've never seen Marshall punching like this. In fact, this is how Shields has always fought, even down to the wild left slap to the arm of Shields. It's inexplicable. Why she didn't listen to her trainer, readjust her strategy, and box to her strengths is as much a mystery as to how Claressa transformed into the boxer that she became. Life is strange. But the boxing outcome was fairly judged. Let's hear what Claressa had to say after the fight.
I just want to thank God because I've been working hard for a very long time and no one has given me credit. But after that display tonight and after a tough opponent, you know, I couldn't even see out my right eye rounds 6 through 10 because she do hit hard. But I bit down and I did what I do in training. And I got the job done, so I just want to thank Savannah Marshall and her team. I want to thank the whole UK for being here because it's not just a special moment for me, but it's a special moment for women's boxing. Savannah Marshall, Alicia Baumgartner, Michaela Mayer, Caroline Du Bois. I mean, women's boxing has been around for so many years and so many greats that came before us, but here we are in front of 20,000 fans in London at the O2 Arena. And I think that's fight of the year.
A very magnanimous speech, and we sincerely hope that Claressa has suffered no permanent damage to the eye. Perhaps this was the only viable option for the game of life. Losing to Savannah would have crushed Claressa completely. But not just her. Millions of people around the world who never even saw her skills deficit, and for the vast majority never even watched the Savannah Marshall fight. Claressa was a champion of the spirit, and the game of life loves spirit. Of course, we'll never hear the end of it, but we can cope. As can Savannah, who is very well grounded, and who will be able to be pleased for her long-standing friend. She will of course look back from time to time and wonder, what if? But those are moments we all have to live with. We can wish both girls the very best for the future, and now turn ourselves to our own game of life. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with your friends. Oh, and post your thoughts on this video and on the fight. Also consider checking out my video on the girls' 2012 clash in the amateurs. The link will be in the description or on the screen. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video series.